Well, I have some confidence that I may now have actually created enough space on my iPad. Well, so on the story about one of the Buddha's previous lives, there's this interesting. This is at the top of page. This is interesting language. Top of 26. This is about when I think he's a prince and he's going to feed him or make himself food for a tiger and its young or something like that. Was it a tiger? Yeah, a tigress, mama tiger, and her babies. At the top of 26, today I will use this body. That's the it. Today I will use this body for a sublime deed. Then this body will act for me as a boat. Remember, there's Mahayana and Hinayana, big boat, big raft, little raft. So the image of the boat or raft is that which helps us to cross. Like as it says here, the body will act for me as a boat, which helps me. So there's a me besides the body, right? This body's going to help me. And the weird thing is, for the Buddha, there is no me like that, but will help me to cross the ocean of birth and death. When I have renounced this futile body, and then, wow, listen to this language about the body, a mere ulcer tied to countless becomings, burdened with urine and excrement, unsubstantial like foam, full of hundreds of parasites. That one's true. Then I shall win the perfectly pure Dharma body. And I guess that would be pretty much. So, and so then he talks about, the tigress is so famished that, and this is identified as a bodhisattva. The bodhisattva noticed that the tiger was too weak to move, so he goes and cuts off pieces of himself and blood. Yeah. And so then the tiger and the babies, or at least the tiger, gets something to eat. It ends this way, right? It was I, Ananda. And Ananda is pretty much like Peter to Jesus, right? He's the main disciple. So this is being presented as the Buddha speaking, but I can pretty well guarantee you the Buddha himself did not say this stuff. It was I, Ananda, who at that time and on that occasion was the prince Mahasattva, great sattva, bodhisattva. Well, anyway, Mahasattva. It was I, Ananda. So again, I think somebody asked in class, well, this stuff we'd say was written probably 3 to 4 centuries after the time of the Buddha, maybe even a little more. And it's pretty reliable supposition that the Buddha would not have taught such a thing as this. So what you'd have to go with is the idea, or they had to go with the idea that the Buddha had secret teachings. And I mentioned again, this is very much like the Gnostic Gospels in Christianity. Here, these secret teachings, like maybe this is one that I'm going to assume, he's speaking only to Ananda, right? Not to everybody else, but only to Ananda. So it's kind of got this, it's a special and select message that not all the disciples got. And a lot of the disciples, maybe, from the Mahayana perspective, oh yeah, those people that do the wisdom of the elders, they think they're really following the Buddha. Well, those were more of his exoteric teachings. He had esoteric, secretive teachings, like that he gave to Ananda and select few. And that's where these stories come from. They got passed down until they were written down. Interesting attempt. Not all that convincing, but that's often how it works. let's see. Oh, wow. There's the one. Wow. The previous life of the guy that gets hacked up by a butcher, uh, a sage who's just hacked a whole lot, doesn't feel a thing, no pain at all. What gave him anguish? This is 30. What page is this? 30. 28, 29, 30. Page 30. No pain at all. What gave him anguish was to see the king so far estranged from Dharma, from true teaching. That's not bothering him, but yeah. So then we have outline of a bodhisattva's progress. Again, this is all much later developments. I like this. So what is a bodhisattva? Someone is called a bodhisattva if he is certain to become a Buddha. He's a Buddha in the making. A Buddha being a man who has first enlightened himself and will thereafter enlighten other people. The word Bodhi refers here to that wisdom of holy men which have the wisdom that has reached the stage where the outflows have dried up. And these would be basically what we've been calling the skandhas in here, kind of forms of mental and maybe we could say emotional energy. They're not good. Wow. And like, how long does it take to become one? Wow. After the 3 incalculable eons, which he has to go through first. Well, how long is an incalculable eon? Oh, well, it's, here's what it is. It is more than 10, followed by 27 zeros. And I don't know if, I guess this is meaning years. I have no idea what the number would be if you had a 10 followed by 27 zeros, but it's a long time. In that first incalculable eon, he does not know yet whether he will become a Buddha or not. In the second eon, he knows he will be a Buddha, but does not dare to say so openly. In the third eon, he knows for certain that one day he will be a Buddha and fearlessly proclaims that fact to the world. And so it talks in about, well, our Buddha, of the people who wrote this literature, and kind of, again, interpret him in terms of this long process. Very fascinating stuff. I think then let's go down real quick. Oh, other worlds. Oh, yeah. Okay, so number 4, celestial paradises, the Pure Land of Amitabha. So the Pure Land, this is the language of Pure Land Buddhism, Japanese. I mentioned it earlier. A Japanese development of Buddhism that was actually sort of developed around the year 1200 in the Christian era. So, about 1,000 years ago. So well after the time of Buddha. And so you have this Lord Amitabha, who in this world, I think Amitabha, we'd have to call him a bodhisattva. He's created a Buddha field that's sometimes called the Pure Land. And for Pure Land Buddhists, as I mentioned before, all that it takes to enter the Pure Land upon one's death is to have called out upon the name of Amitabha, or Amida for short, during one's lifetime, and have done it with sincerity and faith. So I'm going to mention again the Buddhist Church or Temple of San Diego. It's on Market Street, I think. They do kind of a typical or sort of a worship service that's not unlike a church service, because this organization or denomination is actually patterned after Christian worship, by Buddhists who had come to the U.S., in fact, to San Francisco first, and observed how Christians did it, with their sanctuaries and organs and music and so on. And so this, I think it's called the Buddhist Churches, or Buddhist Association of Churches, maybe, of America, it's a Pure Land expression. So they do offer a lot of prayers and invocations to Amida Buddha, and with the idea, So what happens? Well, what's the Pure Land? It's not nirvana. You get this beautiful description of it. We won't go to the details. You should read it. But the basic idea is you're going to a place that doesn't have all the obstacles to achieving nirvana. It's beautiful. You get some stuff at the top of, everyone hears the pleasant sound he wants to hear. I know there's something about everybody gets to eat whatever they want to eat, but they don't actually eat it. They just think about it. And, there's even of feelings which are neither pleasant nor unpleasant, one does not hear there, how much less of suffering. So this is this beautiful, happy land, pure land. The idea is from this land, achieving nirvana becomes far easier. So you see the implication of all that, which is doing it the old-fashioned way is really hard. Really hard. And so we need help. We need help just to get out of this world to where we can rightly meditate and achieve nirvana. Wow. So on 235, you see what I have underlined. And all the beings who have been born, who are born, and who will be born in this Buddha field, and that's the Pure Land, Buddha field, I almost think of it like a Buddha force field, like this area where the Buddha nature just suffuses everything. And all these beings are fixed on the right method of salvation until they have won nirvana. So again, the Pure Land is not nirvana. It just is the place where you can achieve nirvana far more readily. Okay? And you'll see again at the end of this one, at the end of this teaching, the last paragraph, and if any beings, Ananda, see, so Ananda is being taught, addressed by whom? By the Buddha. Did the historical Buddha ever talk about this Pure Land? It just doesn't fit with anything that we know of Shakyamuni's teachings. It is a religious development. Perhaps I made that point well enough.